Someone depends completely on one single job for absolutely everything in their life right now. Rent. Food. Every single bill sitting on the table each month. Their boss knows this fact clearly, whether spoken out loud directly or not. So that boss can say almost anything, ask for almost anything, and this specific employee simply nods and quietly complies every single time. Now picture someone else entirely, with genuine savings built up, real skills that transfer easily elsewhere, multiple actual options available to them. Their boss suddenly seems considerably more careful around them, almost cautious. Same company. Same position. Completely different amount of real power in the room. Most people build their entire lives without ever really noticing how many small dependencies they're quietly accumulating along the way. One single income source. One primary source of social approval. One specific person whose validation seems to matter more than anyone else's opinion combined. Each one of these individual dependencies is genuinely a lever, whether you consciously realize it or not. And somewhere, someone can always potentially pull on it, whenever it happens to benefit them directly to actually do so. Self-sufficiency isn't actually about needing absolutely nobody ever again in your entire life, despite what that specific word might initially suggest to most people. It's about deliberately removing every single unnecessary lever someone else could otherwise use against you directly. Not becoming completely isolated from everyone around you. Becoming genuinely unshakable instead, regardless of what any single person, company, or relationship decides to actually do around you at any given moment. That specific difference changes absolutely everything about how people actually treat you going forward. Here's what makes a genuinely self-sufficient person quietly unsettling to anyone who's used to holding real power over others through simple dependency alone. Threats stop actually working on them reliably anymore. Guilt trips stop landing the way they clearly used to before. The usual tools people rely on to control someone else, financial fear, social pressure, quiet manipulation, simply stop functioning properly on someone who genuinely doesn't need what's actually being dangled in front of them. Think of an employee who spent genuinely years quietly building an emergency fund, learning transferable skills, keeping relationships alive outside their specific workplace entirely. For a long time, nothing about their day-to-day life seemed particularly different from anyone else around them there. They still showed up. They still did genuinely excellent work, consistently. But something had actually shifted underneath the surface, invisible to almost everyone watching from outside. They no longer feared losing that specific job the way they once genuinely did. Then, one day, they finally spoke up clearly in a meeting about something that genuinely mattered to them, something they quietly stayed silent about for years beforehand. No trembling voice this time. No careful, anxious wording chosen specifically to avoid any possible conflict at all. Just honest, direct words, spoken plainly and confidently. Their manager, quite noticeably, treated them differently after that specific moment. More carefully. More respectfully. Nothing had actually changed on paper. Everything had changed underneath it, completely. There's real, established social science behind exactly why this specific shift happens so reliably, in nearly every situation like it. Power, in almost any relationship or dynamic, flows directly toward whoever needs the other party the absolute least, in practical terms. Researchers studying dependency and power consistently find the exact same clear pattern, across countless different situations studied. The person with genuinely more real alternatives available holds more actual leverage in the relationship overall. The person with fewer alternatives available, whether they consciously realize it or not, ends up holding considerably less. This isn't actually about being cold, calculating, or transactional in how you treat people around you, to be perfectly clear about that. It's simply an honest, accurate description of how real power quietly moves between people in nearly every single relationship. The employee trapped by financial fear isn't weak as a person in any real sense. They're simply positioned with fewer genuine alternatives available to them right now. Change that specific position directly, and the entire dynamic shifts along with it, often quite dramatically and quickly. This is precisely why genuinely self-sufficient people can feel quietly threatening to anyone who's grown fully accustomed to controlling others through simple dependency alone. It's honestly never actually personal in most cases, whatever it might feel like on the surface. It's simply that control, once it's actually lost completely, rarely comes back easily to whoever originally held it before. Someone who could once be quietly pressured, guilt, or threatened effectively suddenly can't be anymore, and that specific loss of control genuinely unsettles people who benefited directly from having it in the first place. So how do you actually start building this specific kind of self-sufficiency yourself, starting today, in your own life? You begin by honestly identifying every single lever someone else currently holds over you right now, without flinching away from the answer. One income source you genuinely can't afford to lose under any circumstances. One person whose approval you feel you desperately need constantly, just to feel okay about yourself. One specific skill so narrow it leaves you with essentially no real alternatives elsewhere if things go wrong. Build a genuine financial buffer deliberately, even if it starts out remarkably small at first, honestly. Every single dollar saved is technically one small piece of leverage quietly reclaimed back from whoever currently holds it over you right now. You're not necessarily trying to become wealthy overnight through this specific process, to be clear about the actual goal here. You're simply trying to reach the specific point where losing one income source doesn't genuinely mean losing absolutely everything else along with it. Diversify your actual skills deliberately, so you're never fully dependent on just one single narrow ability to genuinely survive economically. Learn something new and different, consistently, even while you're still fully employed doing something else entirely for now. The goal isn't necessarily quitting your current job immediately or dramatically. The goal is simply knowing, with real confidence, that you actually could leave if you genuinely needed to someday, for whatever specific reason that turns out to be. Diversify your emotional support system too, deliberately, so no single person ends up holding complete power over your entire well-being at once. Build several genuine friendships instead of relying entirely on just one relationship for absolutely everything emotionally. Learn to validate yourself internally as well, rather than constantly needing external approval from any one specific source to actually feel okay about who you are. Emotional dependence on a single person is exactly as risky as financial dependence on a single income source, in every meaningful sense that matters. None of this actually means cutting people off completely, or refusing every single form of genuine connection offered to you along the way. It means building your own life sturdy enough that connection genuinely becomes a real choice you make freely, not a desperate, unavoidable necessity you're quietly trapped inside of. People you genuinely love can stay exactly as close as they've always been throughout this entire process. They simply stop being the single, sole thing holding your entire life together by themselves. Over time, something genuinely important shifts inside you, quietly and steadily, the more you actually build this specific kind of self-sufficiency for yourself. You stop flinching at threats that used to genuinely control you before, without you even realizing they were doing it. You stop desperately needing approval you once quietly begged for, in ways you couldn't always fully see clearly at the time. People who once held real power over you notice this specific shift almost immediately, often without fully understanding exactly what's actually changed about you. They just know something feels genuinely different now, and they can't quite explain what it is. So start today, honestly, by naming the single biggest lever someone else currently holds over you right now, in your own actual life. Then take one small, deliberate step toward genuinely reducing it, however small that specific step might actually be at first. Save something. Learn something new. Build one more real relationship outside your primary one entirely. Become so self-sufficient, quietly and steadily, that it genuinely unsettles anyone who once benefited directly from your dependence on them. That's not coldness in any real sense. That's simply real, unshakable freedom, held quietly and confidently, one reclaimed lever at a time.